What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. Last week, we finally starting to get a trend of some selling. Yes, it is finally coming after almost about 3 months of just straight going up. We are finally starting to go down, but we are not crashing. We do have a quad witching on, or a triple witching on Friday, followed along with some SPX rollovers. And you can simply see this in the contracts. I know the contracts on SPX on Friday, the ranges on them were were quite extensive. I know a couple different times I jumped into call contracts as the market pushed down, or SPX pushed down, the index pushed down. The contracts were holding premium very well. Being said, I think there's a bigger move. There's a lot of money being traded in and out of the SPX rollovers and the contract ending. We're going to, again, to see this in 2 weeks again, and then another 2 weeks from that. So we'll see in this period for the next till about October 15th. We'll see a lot of this push and pull. So be careful if this isn't your kind of market that you've been playing over the past week or two. Be mindful that this isn't over. I think in another 3 weeks, we still got this. There's a lot of contracts being swapped out for quarterly stuff, getting ready into the holiday season. Also being said, we do have the FOMC this week. So Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to have the Fed. And then more importantly, you're going to have Powell on Wednesday to address essentially the public after everything. Although I'm not too concerned unless, again, news comes out about what is going on with Powell. I know there's been a lot of back and forth on if he was going to return or not. That should have been have come out possibly 2 weeks ago, but still we haven't heard word on if he's returning or not. There's a lot of mixed messages there. So we have to wait and see. Being said, we still are dealing with just contracts in general getting turned over. All the information essentially coming out for the inflation data. Nothing is so bad that is going to take down the market. Being said, also there was some information that came out that the inflation data that we have been getting isn't true inflation data. They've left out some particular things. With inflation, I think housing was actually one of them as well. So there's not, we're getting mixed signals, but as we all know, the Fed does this, right? They don't want the public to know exactly, right? They don't want to scare the public more than it needs to be scared. But being said, the market is just slowly churning. I think it's just getting ready for the next leg. So a lot of the movement that you're seeing now, we don't have a true reason to sell. We also don't really have a true reason to start pushing up. Everything is green light for growth, but it has been running very hot. So this is more of just a cool off period. Although over the past couple of days, we have seen a lot of strength come into mid cap and smaller caps. And I am foreseeing this to be true for the next couple of weeks. You'll get some big pumps in FANG. You'll see a rotation out of mid caps and small caps back into FANG, and so we'll get explosive moves in FANG, and then it will stall, hit support, and then I believe that money will go suck right back into mid caps and lower caps from that point. I myself, I like to stay with FANG. I do have a couple of mid caps, small caps that I play a lot. And I highly suggest that you have a small watch list or some kind of watch list when you trade only those ones off that watch list. That's essentially what I do. This is essentially why I've created my core watch list here, are the ones that I like, the ones that I like to trade for whatever reason. Maybe I like the liquidity. Maybe I like the way it moves. But ultimately, you need to have a core that you are just trading off of those. If you are a momentum trader, right, that is good to an extent. If your core essential stocks aren't really moving, then I would say go. Or if you find a particular one you want to test, go lighter on those particular ones, especially around earnings time periods. I like to trade ones that have exceeded expectations. Those are always fun to trade on during earning period. But ultimately, you want a core, especially going into moments like this, especially with stocks and fundamentals that you trust in that particular company, something like your Teslas or your Facebooks or your Googles that you know are going to bounce back quick. Those are the ones that I focus on and I concentrate on. Being said, with the FOMC this week, there are still some earnings. We still have FedEx Tuesday after hours. We have Adobe Tuesday after hours. We have Costco and Nike reporting Thursday after the bell. So ones I particularly trade, but I do like to bring those up for those people that do like those. AutoZone also too on Tuesday morning, which is one I do like to trade every now and again when it does come down. And then the schedule for this week, we got federal budget Monday, and we do have a lot of core CPI. We got core CPI on Tuesday. We have, again, a lot of inflation numbers coming out this week, but ultimately understand that we got FOMC, and that is, again, on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. And again, it really just depends on what Powell has got to say this week. Actually, I think I was looking at, let me look here. Yeah, we got again, Powell on Wednesday. We got building permits, we got SARS. Monday, we have the National Association of House Builders Index, market data, PMI, market service PMI, and manufacturing PMI. So we do have more data is going to be coming in. Again, I don't really think it's going to affect the market that much. The market really doesn't care about that. I think they've kind of gotten over that. They were more worried about rates. They know tapering is coming. So I think ultimately right now, is when I think people are looking for on Wednesday, specifically from Powell, when they're going to be tapering. Again, not buying assets has nothing to do with rate raises. Again, Powell has been very good about sticking to his guns. I don't expect anything different from him on Wednesday, but ultimately the market has digestion and all that. We are in a downtrend right now, as you can see on the daily here on SPX. So expect anything, any kind of pump that you're getting is going to be temporary. We did break a lot of different supports on Friday, which I'll go through some charts with you guys as well. But ultimately, again, there's a lot going on with that and where that stands and where Powell stands. So just be mindful. Anything long is going to be primarily intraday for the most part, unless we get a massive sell-off that we might get a quick bounce overnight. But it's going to be short-lived, again, I think until around October 15th, when we start getting the last of the major contracts ending at that point. Again, there's trillions of dollars that are being liquidated and put back into the market. And so that's something to keep in mind. And something to watch is your big FANG stocks like your Teslas and your Amazons and Googles. You want to keep those on watch and see where they're going. Tesla has held extremely well through all of this. There's a lot of stuff that just held extremely well through all this. And what you've noticed is like SPX has been selling off, definitely contract selling directly for the index in itself, because it is not matching up what everything else has been holding. Banks have been holding fairly well. Value, from what I've seen, has held fairly well. Actually, let me pull up BA real quick and look at BA. Everything's actually been holding. Yeah, everyone's been in a holding pattern. So it's just your indexes that are getting essentially pummeled at this point because of the contracts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at some charts. Tesla, again, holding extremely strong. So this is something to keep in mind. If the index continues to sell, I expect this to have an explosive move out of here. As soon as it breaks this 764, every time it's come into here, it is sold off massively. And so if it does break this, I can see us actually running. Tesla, I think, is going to have a major run going into the holiday season. Being said, manage your risk. It could still always sell off, but I do expect a big move out of Tesla. It normally does going on into the fall period, so that's something to watch. Google is taking one heck of a beating on Friday. And so even your Googles, like I said, it's taken a beating, but this is one of the ones that I think will bounce back. So ultimately, for ones like Google, I'd really like it down the 2760, around that 50-day EMA, to start thinking about getting in it and catching bigger bounces out of this. So that's why I always have these green marks here. There are daily supports, and those are the ones I aim for when the market starts selling like this, because you can catch great bounces off this. Plus, they're also great reversal points. So something to keep in mind, especially when it's on the daily. And also keep in mind, I do like UPST. Now, this one has obviously been doing extremely well coming into all this, especially after the earnings and their projection of where this is going. So you definitely want to mark daily supports on this. This is running pretty hot, but it's losing steam. It tried to lose some steam over the past week, and it just wasn't happening. It hit that 260. It came close to the 20 EMA, but again, great potential. This stock in itself is one I want to keep on throughout the remainder of the year, and essentially try to buy as many dips as possible on this particular stock. But you want to, if the stock has good fundamentals like UPST and is definitely doing great things in moments like this, you want to stick with those. And that's why I advise that you have a good core stocks that are kind of across all spectrums, right? In growth and in value and some financials, whatever the case is. But just play those and don't get FOMO'd into playing every stock. I think that leads you into setting yourself up for failure ultimately. But even Apple, I mean, a lot of these are just breaking below. Apple broke below support on the 50. Could see another retest of that 50. It's coming into pretty strong support here at that 154 or 144, sorry. And I see if it holds. If it does break that and continue to go lower, but if it starts getting closer to this 200, I definitely want to start loading up. I don't think, again, we're going to be selling too much unless something comes out of the blue. But ultimately, I'm not worried about the sell-off. I mean, the sell-off is, I think, normal around this time period. Again, just adjustments getting ready for the new quarter coming up, because it's normally always a big bullish quarter. And with all the money, there's a lot of expectations on different companies doing quite well going into this next quarter. So Facebook, another one that took a major hit. It did bounce off the 50 quite well. So again, we want to continue to watch these. I would really like Facebook down here at the 150 or 350 mark. I think we're going to see that before this whole cycle is done. Possibly even if we could get it down to around the 340 mark would be best. That kind of gives us some headroom going into the holiday season. So just right now, ultimately, I don't really have a watch list. Again, it's just watching, having your core list, kind of just talking about some general information about what's going on this week. Again, subscribe so you can get the daily updates, because that gives more insight on what's going on and what I'm really looking at. The weekly is kind of more of a broader what's happening during the week, especially what's been going on lately. So, but ones like Roblox, it's been holding very well. It's been holding this, again, the 80, especially the 81 mark. So let's see if next week this actually pushes back up to 90. Someone I want to keep an eye on. Palantir is actually finally getting some steam and pushing up. Looks like it did hit support. Let's see if it comes back down, and it might actually just come retest the 2726 and then start moving up. I think, again, mid caps and small caps this might be the run for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Again, you'll have your off days where I think big tech will take over, but ultimately understand I think there's going to be bigger plays in mid cap, small caps in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once everything gets adjusted and those big techs come down a little bit more, getting ready for that holiday rally, and also start building positions in big tech is what I am looking for. SQ, I actually caught this move up into support. We'll see if SQ does break this. If not, it comes lower. I definitely want to grab this if it does come back down to that 235 mark. I believe it's very much possible. And ride that holiday earnings is what I'm looking at. SQ or Snap. It's been playing range and definitely been holding the 50. So that 71, 50 mark has been a solid support for it. If it does break that, though, it's going to come down pretty fierce, I think. There is support along the way, but I think it might get a little bit of relief before going to the holiday season. Microsoft holding support as long as it doesn't break below that 299 mark, essentially. If it does break below that, I can definitely see this going a little bit lower, possibly retesting the 50. Microsoft has been extremely strong going through this whole thing. At Amazon, it looks like it's broken out and retested this wedge. So one I definitely want to keep on is been showing some strength, although with the market and everything, your big tech like your Teslas, your Amazons aren't going to go up until SPX is done with the selling. And then once it starts picking up, these might actually explode from that point. So again, good to watch the ones that are holding now. Shop is actually doing really good. It looks like it is turning. It is hitting a lot of support here, though, and Shop is one of those ones that will just drop. So from my point of view, I definitely want to let this sell off a little bit more before building a position in this. I do like Shop a lot because it does. It's one of those ones that bounce back very quickly and rally quite strongly. So. Best thing with this is just time with Shop and a lot of these that I play. But nonetheless, I want to see how this one plays out in the coming months. Let me see. As far as anything else, Airbnb has been very strong. Essentially, any dips again by support. I think we could get another retest of this 160, and then from that point, I think we might start really running up. Going into the holiday season as well. Space has been breaking out. Like I said, I think, again, a lot of smaller cap, mid-cap stocks are going to start really running and what we're going to see. So definitely have a core set of mid-cap, small caps over the next coming weeks. Build that out so you can go off of my list or create your own. But it's definitely have to be one that you are familiar with, understand the movement of that stock and what you like about that stock. Myrna's also been one. There's, again, a lot of news about vaccines and everything. It did have a bit of a breakout. Looks like it retested. I didn't catch the dip on this one, but this one could potentially start really ripping, possibly retest that 500. Strong possibility. I don't like playing Myrna too much unless it starts to really fall and start basing because of the fact that it is very volatile. There's a lot of news coming out about Moderna, so you definitely want to be careful. I don't like really playing it too much, but I like to keep an eye on it for possible potential. RVLV is one I talked about a couple of weeks ago. It's actually gone essentially straight up since I've talked about it. Since it's got that news, it's been going straight up. Actually looking for, if it comes back down into this 65 mark, great pickup, I think. Going into 75, I think this can break out, especially going to the holiday season. I think it definitely break that 75, go to all-time highs from that point. Docs is also one I want to watch. It looks like it actually has a daily break here and retest. So Monday, essentially look for that 94 mark. You want it to stay above this 91.62 mark, essentially that daily support. If it breaks that, it's definitely coming back down. But I think we can get at least possibly another retest of all-time highs at that 107, 108 mark before it comes back down. CMG had a lot of upgrades on Friday, but it looks like it failed. So it's definitely been holding this range, though. So as long as it holds essentially that 1834 mark, you don't want it below that, because if it does break below that, we could definitely see a big drop from that point. Otherwise, I've just been playing range. A lot of these I've just been playing range. I know this video is getting really long, so I don't want to make this video too long, but there's a lot of information packed in this week, so that's what I wanted to get in. So again, just be mindful. If this market isn't for you, you can always just wait and see. Wait till there's actually confirmation that we are going back up if the selling is done. Again, depending on what kind of a trader, what kind of investor you are. If you're FANG, just be ready, have your orders ready, and let it come to you. Let the stock come to you. Don't push anything, don't force anything, especially in a market like this. It is very volatile. And again, if you're a trader, if you're a day trader, definitely mark your daily supports and only buy at your lines. Do not be buying at no man's land, because that's how a lot of people lose big money in this particular market. So if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.